speaker for this session is Guy Levesque, who's at the University of Ottawa, Associate Vice President, Research Support and Infrastructure. And Guy has spent the last 20 plus years working in the area of research support and innovation through successive roles at NSERC, the University of Manitoba, and the CFI. As Vice President of Programs and Performance from 2015 to 2018 at the CFI, he was responsible for managing all aspects of the CFI's research infrastructure, funding programs, and providing leadership and policy advice for developing policies relevant to these programs. Additionally, he championed their commitment to accountability and organizational excellence through the rigorous assessment and analysis of the outcomes and impact of CFI investments in research infrastructure. In November 2018, Guy joined the University of Ottawa as Associate VP Research Support and Infrastructure, and he now oversees a large portfolio, as you will see, that includes the Office of Strategic Development Initiatives, Innovation Support Services, and Institutional Core Facilities. So thank you so much, Guy, for joining us, and we're looking forward to hearing you speak.
Merci beaucoup, Marie-Ève. It's a pleasure to join you this afternoon. I'm conscious of time, so I will try and be as brief as possible. Those of you who know me know that that's going to be very difficult. Je vais tenter de faire le pont entre la présentation de Marie-Claude et celle de Yves. From an institution to the term platform, or the concept of platform in its broadest sense as Yves presented it. And part of my role at the University of Ottawa is to leverage and maximize and make our core facilities and our scientific platforms those springboards that enable those large networks, those large collaborations that allow us to build strong research enterprises across a whole spectrum of disciplines. The story of the University of Ottawa is one that has relied on talent, bucketfuls, a passion, also bucketfuls, and a little bit of serendipity and luck. I'm pleased to see that we have such a strong University of Ottawa contingent participating in the CNSP. Those of you who know me, like Claire and James, who I saw in the chat, I've been a passionate fan and advocate of platforms and core facilities since we first met back in June, almost eight years to the day, almost in Montreal at the CCMA 2013 meeting, and been an advocate since then. And so in my role, I'm right in the sweet spot of what I love to do and the passion that I bring to developing our core facilities and our scientific platforms at the university. So thanks for having me. So let me start by sharing my presentation. Is that working?
Yes.
Perfect. Good.
We're seeing just a PowerPoint regular mode, not the presentation, Guy.
Est-ce que ça c'est mieux?
Perfect.
Perfect, thank you. Apologies for that technical glitch. Donc, at the University of Ottawa, we have a huge portfolio of core facilities and platforms, between 25 and 29, depending on the year. Some that are 30 years old, some that are 6 months old, some that were purpose-built to be core facilities and platforms, others that grew organically, some that have tremendous large user bases, others that are very focused, some that are extremely expensive to run, some that are funded through the Major Science Initiatives Fund at the university from the CFI. So part of our job is to create a program that is inclusive, that responds to the needs of this breadth of core facilities and platforms at the university. As I said, 27, it spans 3 faculties, 5 of our affiliated research hospital research institutes, our libraries. We have recent additions such as our psychology survey-based, observational-based core facility called Inspire Lab, a computing data center, and even our university presses. Nous avons une presse universitaire bilingue, une des seules au monde, et elle fait partie de nos plateformes technologiques. The program is about 12 years old, and as luck would have it, as I joined the university in 2018, November of 2018, a pretty rigorous analysis and assessment of the core facilities and platforms had started a few months before I arrived. And so that program allowed us to make some significant changes and enhancements to the way the university supports our core facilities so that they can really be all that they can be. So just a quick sense of the last 2.5 years, which I think have been a significant evolution in the way we've done or practiced the support we provided to platforms. So we've evolved from the originally it was conceived to be submit us an annual report and you'll receive some funding. It was a one-size-fits-all approach with no regards to the scale, size, scope, objectives. And I don't think we really had a good pulse of what exactly we had in terms of quality and in terms of capabilities at the university. And so when I arrived, we quickly moved into a bit more of what I call a portfolio and community of practice approach, which allows us to move to a much more of an inclusive approach in defining what a core facility is, providing support that is a little bit more tailored. A few of the participants today sit on the Core Facilities Managers Advisory Committee, a key group to help us shape and evolve our thinking and our policies and our supports for core facilities. Le développement d'un cadre de référence, terms of reference, so that we have a bit more of a consistent approach across our core facilities in governance and management and operations. We've heard many people over the course of the last hour talk about professional development and how important it is as a tool to help build or professionalize the career track of those who are involved in managing and leading core facilities. Developing the acumen around business planning and business development and working in partnerships is also critical. And finally, a big mission of the Office of the Vice President Research is to make sure that we create greater visibility, awareness, and promotion of these of our platforms and our core facilities in our local, but also national community. Pourquoi est-ce que c'est important? Well, core facilities are critical to the university. It's mentioned no less than, I think, 7 times in our strategic research plan. And so they are a key for us to succeed and reach our lofty objectives of where we want to be as a research-intensive university. We want to be recognized as national leaders and global leaders in our research enterprise, and core facilities will allow us to do that. It also ties into our university's Transformation 2030, which is our university strategic plan that talks about agility, being connected, being impactful, and being sustainable. All 4 words that resonate quite strongly with core facilities and scientific platforms. Now, just to give you a bit of a sense, I talked a little bit about serendipity and luck in terms of inheriting the program and how things have evolved at the University of Ottawa. My office provides just over $1 million a year in direct support to our core facilities in a range of $30,000 to $50,000 per year, depending on size, scale, and growth and trends. And here's, I think, a kicker that is not well known, but which creates significant advantages for us. Over 70% of our CFI John R. Evan Leaders Fund investments are going into our cores. And over 75% of the infrastructure operating funds that we have are used in our cores. The serendipity lies in the way we manage our infrastructure operating fund, in that the Office of the Vice President keeps 20% of every dollar, so 20 cents on every dollar stays within my office, so that we can use it to do strategic things. And I'll talk a little bit about what that means in a few minutes. And the rest are given to the faculty, deans, and vice dean research in an envelope that we recalculate every year, So we don't assign the IOF to specific projects. So I guess the urban legend or the myth that IOF runs out after 5 years is something that we don't have to confront, because the faculty manages it in a portfolio approach as well. So that is a really strong serendipitous decision that was made several years ago, and one that we've used to our advantage, because it does create significant competitive advantages for the university. You heard Marie-Claude talk about the keys to making sure how core facilities evolve, emerge, develop. And that's because faculties play such a key role in being engaged and interacting and supportive of the creation. Also the shutting down, because every year we shut down some core facilities because they no longer meet the expectations or the definition of a core facility. You may have heard or saw that the 2020 Innovation Fund competition, the university was highly successful. We received about nearly $30 million of the CFI's competition budget for 5 of 8 of our projects, including 2 very large ones in photonics and in thin films materials. And part of what we do is we leverage our core facilities as important assets, institutional assets towards our commitment, but also towards delivering on the promise of these large-scale innovation fund proposals. Again, just to give you a bit of a sense, in the study we did in 2018, so what you see in blue behind is a histogram of the size of CFI awards under the GELF program, and in orange, the University of Ottawa's distribution of size. And as you see, we typically use our GELFs in strategic ways, in larger ways, to help acquire significant infrastructure that, as you saw, mostly goes into our core facilities. So that combination of IOF, the way we run our competition, as you heard Marie-Claude, it's given to the deans. We run the competition out of my office, out of our strategic development initiatives team. So we do have the ability to make some key decisions around our Canada Research Chairs recruits, our new recruits, but also once in a while, a few strategic investments for workforces and for departmental or core facility needs. Marie-Claude le dit tantôt, ça prend un village. So just to give you a sense, and part of the challenge, of course, with core facilities is when there's not a single payer or single funder, one of the tensions that exists is, well, who owns the core facility? Is it a faculty facility? Is it a university facility? When you have a village where the Office of the Vice President Research, the faculty, user fees, other contracts, and other sources are all part of this mosaic of support, it creates a number of interesting, I think, positive tensions, but also it creates uncertainty that, as you've seen in the chat, some of the questions around funding of HQP and funding of positions is critical as a challenge. So the other thing that I want to mention that Yves mentioned very early on is that our core facilities, I see from a research perspective because of the seat of which I occupy, but they are a tremendous source of HQP training and training of our next generation of research leaders. And so being able to maximize, recognize the value that these facilities have in terms of training our next generation of researchers, all the way from early undergrads to postdocs, is a critical mission for the university as well. So each core has its own unique history and journey. As I mentioned, they come in all shapes and sizes, and with each a set of particular challenges. Some of them have grown organically over many years. Some of them are developed strategically. We have scientific directors and core managers who play critical roles. I talked about bucket loads of talent and passion. These are the 2 positions where we see that in spades. Many of our leading core managers and scientific directors are here today and for the course of the 3 days of this conference. The other thing is demonstration of leadership and real investment, which my office has been doing, as I said, over the last 2 years in a more targeted strategic fashion. and faculty leadership. I have tremendous relationships and support and interaction with deans and vice deans research, and that's the key to success. Our program is far from being perfect. It will never be sufficient. I will never have enough resources to do everything we should be doing and could be doing with our facilities. But every dollar we're going to invest, and that we will continue to invest, we will maximize. And in fact, I was with Gail Bloquette this morning with MyTax to say, how can we get more MyTax people in our core facilities? And finally, I mentioned that continuous improvement is a must. We'll never get to the ideal state, but as long as we keep moving in that direction. And finally, the tensions between cores, between users that are internal and external, between scientific directors who may think that the core facility is theirs versus institution. All those tensions exist, and they're part of the reality of the discussion in terms of evolving our core facility program and our platforms. And so the main takeaway for me is that there was no big revelation, no big eureka moment when I joined the University of Ottawa after spending many years at the CFI. But the realization that it seems so easy from the outside to build core facilities and to run them and to staff them and to put equipment in them, it ain't that easy. And I will end my comments here and look forward to the discussion.